Hi, everyone. My name is Zeus. I'm the Safe Ecosystem Manager at the Safe Foundation. And today I wanted to talk to you about building doors rather than cages. And just to set expectations, I'm not going to be talking for a full hour. This is more a talk of like 20, 30 minutes, so don't worry about the time. And what we're going to talk about is basically unlocking portable smart accounts for any dApp. And what I would like you to imagine right now is a beautiful building with glass walls, this kind of skyscraper experience, which you're really attracted into. You go in and you're super happy to be inside. But the moment you turn around, you realize that the door locked behind you and you can't leave anymore. On the other side, we have a building with multiple doors that are wide open for you to enter, and you can have different experiences behind them, and you can leave whenever you want. This is exactly what I would like to encourage you to do, to build the doors that are wide open for the users to enter and allow them an easy way to exit, rather than lock them in within your products. And let's be honest, like, we're all lazy. I've been a developer myself. I know what it means to be a lazy developer. We go for the shortcuts, we go for the easier solution. And I'm sure that all of us have been through the experience of going for a checkout to buy something, and we are going through this long form that again asked us for our address. And what happens is that basically we rage quit and we don't end up buying the item that we were wanting to buy. So basically, the more complications, the more friction, the more likely that the user will basically leave. The other thing is that the modern customers are jumping between different apps daily. Even like within 1 minute, what we can do is to go to WhatsApp, Twitter, Instagram, go on Telegram, and all on the same phone, all with the same identity, with the same passkeys that allow us to enter them, and there is no friction whatsoever. And what users want is basically the same experience in Web3 as well. And lastly, the account portability is actually keeping your users loyal to your product rather than discouraging them from it. And the concept of making the account just work whenever a user wants to use your app is something that will encourage them to use it more. It's basically compounding network effect, where users do not have any friction because they can see their transaction history, they can see their balances, they can have all their settings that are associated with their account, or they can have also their social graph. And the portability doesn't dilute your brand, it's rather supercharging the adoption and the acquisition. Quick primer on the EOAs and smart accounts. When we talk about portability, this is something actually very typical for the EOAs. And actually, the fact that EOAs are portable, you can plug them into any dApp, is what made Ethereum grow so much. But let's think about it for a second as a debit card, credit card that you use in an ATM. What it can do, you just plug it in, enter your PIN, take the cash out. That's it. When we talk about smart accounts, it's again the same card that you can use with your ATM. However, it adds an extra layer of flexibility. So you may have like a digital bank associated with it. You can have different apps within that bank even. You can set different limits. Like, for example, say you cannot withdraw money post 10 p.m. for security reasons for yourself. You want to split a payment with your partner, or you want to set limits, for example, for your children if they are using the card. This is exactly what smart accounts are. They are adding these extra functionalities for your users, and they are making them more friendly and practical to use. However, they come with a price. And they come with this need to make the solution really unique and shiny and attractive for the users, which starts to slowly kill the portability, because the apps want to really create a unique experience. And we can see that across the industry with the smart accounts. The apps are kind of going into this like shiny sign-in process for the users. And This, from our perspective, might be amazing because like we own this, we create a unique flow. However, this again brings us back to the walled gardens where we basically log the users in. And this goes through gaming, through social, through DeFi dashboards now with the recent boom of the AI agents. What it's going to cause is basically the hidden lock-ins that are going to like really limit the user who has to create a new account or go through an entire new process whenever they use your application. How does it look like? Like the hidden lock-ins that basically are undermining the portability and the ownership. For example, the smart contracts behind the product are only validating the interface that's specific for that app. So if there is a transaction coming from a different interface, the contract will send check for the message sender and will basically block that transaction. So we only accept the traffic from within the product. Gas sponsorship. So basically the marketing team will say the app is gasless. But actually the paymaster only accepts gasless transaction on Polygon. So then if the user wants to use any other L2, they will have to bridge their assets, and by default, they actually will have to leave your app because it doesn't promise what has been officially communicated. And then we also have MPC custody. And while multi-party computation is a comfortable security solution, it's actually a bit tricky, because if the vendor is owning one of the shards off-chain, and you can't really export it as a user, you end up locked in. And if you want to change a provider, it's kind of like a kidney surgery. And what you really have to do is to migrate to a new account, migrate to a new wallet. So the account portability, what it actually means. It means that I can access my assets regardless of what is the interface or the device that I'm using, and I do not need to take any migration steps. I don't need to create or bridge anything. And from the user perspective, it's about the freedom of moving and reusing our accounts without moving the assets. I can switch the devices and the interfaces without any issue. Think about your laptop, think about your smartphone, 2 different smartphones, whether it's iOS, whether it's Android, hardware wallets, and so on. And lastly, you can think about this as email implementation, where with your one email address, you can actually plug it into all the different platforms. You can use Gmail, you can use Outlook, you can use the Apple Mail. And whenever I log in, I see all the same emails coming in and coming out. And if I can do it with an email, why shouldn't I be able to do it with my on-chain account as well? So let's talk about the pillars that are key for the account portability. Starting with the keys. Basically, the account portability should enable seamless key rotation so that the ownership stays flexible and secure. What it means for the users is that they can add and rotate the keys whenever they need. They can add new signatories, new owners of the account. They can replace a lost iPhone with a new device, or with a passkey, or for example, with a new hardware wallet. And this all happens without any issue. The account stays the same. And as I mentioned, this can be a rotation process, or they can be added on top of each other. The second key are interfaces, which basically allow us to decouple the accounts from specific apps to be independent and be able to be plugged into any platform that they're interacting with. And what it means, whether it's a web-based product, whether it's a mobile application, whether it's a client that you interact with in the terminal, whether it's an independent bot that is basically running trades for you 24/7, they are all equal citizens, and they all have the same right to verify signatures from the same account. And moreover, there is no special contract code which is verifying whether this interface is actually the one able to perform operations with the account. So we're not closing the door behind our users. And lastly, data, so that we can preserve the on-chain settings related to the account, so that basically they travel with the account across the apps, and the user doesn't have to redo them every single time on their new profile. They don't have to worry about the imports. All the limitations, flexibilities, new functionalities that they want to add to their account are basically automatically imported in your product. So what it means, we can export modules, guards, and settings. The history, the transaction history is following you. And it also works cross-chain regardless of which network your assets are on. So to recap, the 3 pillars of account portability go as KID. We have the keys, we have interfaces, and we have the data freedom. Pretty easy to remember. So now, Safe. The Safe smart accounts are giving you portability out of the box, thanks to which you can really accelerate the ecosystem innovation. Because obviously, without having this unique experience in tying the user to your product, you have to be more competitive to actually win their attention and make sure that they do want to use you. But with more competition, the market grows faster and there is more innovation coming in. When it comes to the Safe smart accounts, the most important things, Safe contracts are open source. Anyone can have a look at them, they've been audited. Anyone can deploy smart accounts on any chain at any time. And actually, the coverage of smart accounts is very broad. Moreover, right now, I don't know if you've seen Luca's talk on SafeCon. Basically, we already have now pre-deployments for several different stacks, which means that whenever there is a new L2, for example, coming to Optimism, the Safe accounts will already have their addresses pre-deployed so that the users will be able to operate multi-chain. Second of all, the Safe smart account framework is modular. Modular is also the word we've heard quite a lot during this week, I suppose. But it's been with us since the beginning. What the magic is here behind the smart accounts is that the Safe contracts are very simple. But what we can do, what the apps can do, what the users can do, is basically build like this Lego structure out of the modules, which add different functionalities, add more flexibility to the accounts. The guards, which basically do pre and post transaction checks and can add limitations when it comes to the execution of the transactions. And also we have the owners array, which allows you to easily add, remove, check for owners that are linked to the specific account. And lastly, the contracts are battle tested. They've been adopted by many different products, and the accounts are used by individuals, medium-sized organizations to really big players that hold their assets within the Safe smart accounts. And if we have a look at an example, one Safe account can actually travel through a variety of different apps. One use case would be gaming, where the user is simply playing, they get some assets, maybe lose some assets. After losing the assets, they rage quit the game. But then they log into a different dashboard, can be a DeFi product, and within that DeFi product, which is completely unrelated to the game, they can actually see the NFTs they collected or just lost on their dashboard. So they do not need to have a specific account for gaming, specific account for their DeFi dashboard. It all belongs to them, to the same account. The same user, the same account, may be into trading, where they delegate the trading to an AI bot, which is working behind the scenes 24/7. And it will either automatically approve the trades, or, for example, user can log in through a dedicated UI or a different UI, where they have the right, for example, to veto the transactions in a specific amount of time. Lastly, more of an organizational, social case, the user is part of a DAO, and with the same account again that holds a specific DAO tokens, they can vote through Snapshot to take part in the governance. So we do not have any specific account creation, any specific sign-in logics. Is the one identity and the one account that the user owns, and it follows him throughout the diversity of different products. And within the ecosystem, we already have a lot of different projects like WorldCoin, Snapshot, Fileverse, which actually provides the agenda for you guys during the entire DappCon. Payment providers like BaseApp, CowSwap, Brahma, FluidKey, for example, who's also based on safe accounts, and many, many, many more. And these products already can dip into the power of the account portability. So in terms of more practical matters, let's have a look at how Safe enables these three key pillars that I've been talking about before. So first of all, the key freedom is enabled thanks to the owner array, as well as the EAP 1271 signature standard, which basically allows you to have instant non-custodial key portability. And in terms of the actual use case, the user can swap their lost phone for a new device, another phone, for example, a hardware wallet. They can add a passkey and also allow other signers to perform the actions for them, like, for example, right now, the AI agents. Second of all, the interface freedom. The Safecore SDK and the 4337 pack allow any UI to connect to the same Safe account. What we have in the Safecore SDK is the protocol kit, starter kit, API kit, React Unity hooks. And basically, the front ends can, regardless really of the platform where they live, can create, sign, execute same transaction with a really short code snippet. Second of all, we also have the Wallet Connect support combined also with 4337, which, like, regardless of which app is using, is allowing the user to use their same account across multiple different applications. Then the data freedom, and this is where the modularity comes in. The modules and guards basically are exporting the rules that are set for a specific Safe account. And you can list them with get modules, get guards. Apart from that, the team is currently working on the new version of the contracts, 1.5, which will also combine the modules and guards together. So guards will be basically like built into the module structure, which will make it easier to implement. And what you can do with that, for example, set spending limits, define the time locks, enable social recovery logic within the same Safe account. And then any UI integrating Safe accounts can read these settings for a specific user. And lastly, something I didn't mention before is the cross-chain freedom, which is basically enabled through the deterministic deployments, counterfactual addresses. And you can find that in the multi-chain deployment guide in our documentation. And basically what it allows you to do is to pre-compute the same Safe address on several networks so that then other UIs can map it one to one. More examples in terms of different flows when we talk about like the game sign up with a passkey and then going into a DeFi dashboard. What you can do as a builder is basically use the starter kit, enable a passkey signer, and import the same Safe through the protocol kit from the SDK. Another example, sponsored mobile onboarding. Here we go into 4337 user operations. You can use the relay kit, which is using, for example, Gelato pack that is paying the fees. And then the same Safe account remains valid in any other app that might not be, for example, gas-free. Then, managing cross-chain treasuries. You can deploy the deterministic safes with a multi-chain guide across multiple L2s. And then the solution that allows you to read those balances from different networks is the API kit. And lastly, we have the social recovery that can be enabled by the social recovery module. Users can then add guardians to their account that will be the players allowed to recover the account. And the toolkit that you have here are the modules and as well the protocol kit. That's it from me. Let's build doors, not cages, and let's allow users to have a smoother experience and not have to create hundreds of various accounts, storing hundreds of different seed phrases, and having a more smoother experience. Thanks so much, everyone. Any questions? Mm-hmm. Can you grab the mic? I think it's working, no?
111. Okay. So you mentioned the new version of the safe contracts being in development, the 1.5.0, and that in this case the guards will be integrated in the module flow, right? So right now, for example, we don't see a wide adoption of the guards, of the modules, and probably because of its complexity. So to set up for the usual Web3 user, this kind of the configuration that for sure provides a lot of benefits, but still rather too complex to get through, and to set up. Do you see it being changing, with this new version of contract interaction, or it's also UI UX improvements on the safe itself?
Do you mean the users as the address owner, or you mean the developers integrating the?
Yeah, the address owners, for example. So because it's not maybe useful only for the complicated protocols with the huge I don't know DAO setups and everything for managing the treasury.
I would say this sits on the UX UI side, where we are going to make it easier with the new version of the contracts for the developers, but then what the interface is for the user to set those guards, because I guess you're talking right now about safe wallet.
Yeah.
But these can be defined in any interface where they are integrated and basically showcased to the user to set them up. So it's really what they see, what they have to go through, the friction that we've been talking about. Okay. So hopefully making it easier for the developers, this will be also easier to implement for the end user.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. By the way, we have SafeCon going on upstairs on the 5th floor. So make sure to join the talks. There will be some announcements and clarifications about what is the current focus on Safe. Thank you.